Welcome to this explainer. Look, if your home is in McGehee, Dermot, Watson, or really anywhere along the Highway 65 corridor through Desha County, dealing with mold isn't a question of if, it's just a question of when. We're talking about Mississippi River bottom land here. It's an environment where the water table sits super high and humidity just hangs heavy in the air for 9 months out of the year. It's the perfect recipe for what we like to call the Delta damp.
So you have to ask yourself, what is hiding in your walls? Because in our specific climate, literally just one slow, totally unnoticed leak under a kitchen sink can explode into a full wall cavity infestation in a single summer. It moves incredibly fast, and worse, it stays completely hidden right up until it's a massive issue. To put this into perspective, Desha County sits in one of the wettest, hottest agricultural corridors in the entire United States. The exact same humidity that makes the local rice and soybean farms absolutely thrive around McGehee, Dermot, Tiller, Watson, and Arkansas City is the exact same climate that mold loves. When you add in the Bayou Bartholomew floodplain, those major Mississippi River flooding events, and our intense hot summer storm cells, well, we see local humidity routinely sitting above 80% from April all the way through October. In conditions like that, moisture intrusion is pretty much inevitable, coming from above, from below, and straight inside your wall cavities. Section 1. Hidden home health risks, the invisible threat. Okay, let's dive into this, because we really aren't just talking about property damage anymore. We're talking about a very real health crisis that is officially recognized by the CDC and the Arkansas Department of Health. You are up against some seriously aggressive local culprits. First up is Stachybotrys, which you probably know as black mold. This stuff releases mycotoxins that are directly linked to chronic respiratory disease. Then you've got Aspergillus and Penicillium, which are massive, massive allergy triggers down here in the Delta. And who gets hit the hardest by this? It's always your vulnerable family members. If you've got someone with asthma, a kid with frequent ear infections, or an older parent living in the home, this hidden mold exposure can quietly make their lives miserable for years before you ever even realize it's there. Section 2. The homeowner warning checklist, spotting the signs early. You know, most folks in Southeast Arkansas don't actually call a professional until they can physically smell the problem. And by then, it's already been growing for months. So you need to mentally check your own home for these really subtle early warnings right now. Is there a stale, musty, kind of earthy smell in that back bedroom? Do you see any dark spots or little black freckling around your bathroom grout? Has someone in the house developed a persistent cough that just won't seem to quit? Or maybe you're noticing peeling paint or faint water stains on the ceiling. A single roof shingle pulled loose by a random thunderstorm can wet your attic insulation for weeks before anyone notices a thing. And these are your very first clues. Section 3. The DIY bleach disaster. Why scrubbing makes it worse. Now, this is absolutely crucial. This is the worst thing you can do when you see those warning signs. The most common, incredibly well-intentioned mistake people make is immediately reaching for the bleach. But here is a really surprising fact. Bleach just removes the color. That's it. It leaves the actual mold root perfectly alive underneath the surface. Even worse, bleach is mostly water, so you are literally feeding the colony. Every single time you scrub that mold without proper containment, you're launching millions of microscopic spores into the air, spreading them into rooms that were previously completely clean. Certified remediation, on the other hand, contains those spores, physically removes the entire colony, and treats the structural framing so the problem actually stops. Let me put a real price tag on why this matters. Early intervention with a professional can start out as a minor, totally manageable problem. Sometimes, if you catch it early enough, you're looking at a $500 fix. But what about that failed Saturday afternoon DIY bleach attempt with a scrub brush? By accidentally spreading that infestation straight through your HVAC system and into clean rooms, we regularly see well-meaning homeowners turn that tiny issue into a massive $15,000 disaster. No joke. Mold literally eats your house. Think of it as a ticking clock. Within weeks of a roof leak, your insulation is soaked. Fast forward a few months, and the mold is actively consuming the paper backing of your drywall and eating your subfloor adhesive. Leave it untreated for a few years, it completely destroys your joist framing, requiring a $20,000 structural reconstruction. And we see this exact timeline play out across all our local construction styles, whether it's the historic homes on Holly Street, the rural farmsteads out by Dermot, or the newer brick ranches near Memorial Hospital that maybe didn't get proper vapor barriers installed. Section 4. 5 steps to clean air. The professional cure. Let's look at how to fix this for good.
Real certified mold remediation is a rigorous, highly scientific 5-step process. I can't stress this enough. It is not just a guy showing up with a spray bottle. It requires inspection, containment, removal, drying, and clearance testing.
Let's break those down. Step 1 goes way beyond a visual check. Real inspectors use advanced moisture meters, thermal imaging cameras, and lab-analyzed air samples. The goal is to hunt down and locate every single hidden colony trapped behind your walls and under your flooring, rather than just relying on a flashlight and a wild guess. Steps 2 and 3 are containment and removal. Before anyone even touches the mold, the entire affected area gets completely sealed off with heavy poly sheeting. Negative air machines with HEPA filters are fired up so spores physically cannot migrate to the clean parts of your home. Then, porous contaminated materials like drywall and carpet are surgically cut out and safely bagged. Finally, all the salvageable surfaces and structural framing are meticulously HEPA vacuumed, brushed, and treated with EPA-registered antimicrobials. Step 4 is drying, and honestly, this is exactly where homeowner attempts fail. If you don't dry the internal wall cavity to below a 16% wood moisture content, and you don't fix the original source of the water, the mold is absolutely going to return, and it will probably be worse than before. Professionals bring in heavy-duty commercial dehumidifiers and high-velocity air movers, and they monitor moisture readings until the structure actually passes the test.
The final step is post-remediation verification. Basically, this is a third-party clearance test that hands you a written, lab-backed record proving the space is totally safe. You want this document. Trust me, you need this document. It is absolutely vital for proving your home is safe when you're working with your insurance carrier, trying to sell the home down the line, or if you ever need to document a rental dispute.
So if you are in McGehee, Dermott, Tiller, Watson, Arkansas City, or anywhere in Desha County, here is your exact next step. Call the Mold Remediation Hotline at 332-220-0303. They operate locally, they know exactly how the local climate attacks construction, and they offer free phone consultations, free on-site inspections when there's active water damage, and a 24/7 emergency response. I want to leave you with this final vital question. Is your family breathing in the Delta damp? If you even suspect the answer might be yes, please do not wait until a tiny leak becomes a $20,000 reconstruction or until a family member's health is seriously impacted. Protect your family, protect your home. Give the Mold Remediation Hotline a call today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay safe out there.